Hello, what on earth is legal planning? Legal planning is all about protecting yourself and your family from some of the things that can go wrong and will go wrong in life and eventually death. Before you're born, then your parents will have hopefully wills in place to protect you and appoint guardians should anything happen to them by the time you're born. Once you are born, your parents are going to be responsible for you, and they need to have wills and lasting powers of attorney in place to manage their finances so that you can be looked after again if anything happens to them. Once you get to 18, you're on your own. Your parents no longer have any rights to control you. If you are unfortunate enough not to have the mental capacity to look after yourself, then it's off to the Court of Protection, and hopefully your parents or another family member will be appointed as your deputy. That's an expensive and complicated process, so let's hope it never happens. So at the age of 18, in an ideal world, you should start to write your first will. You should certainly have lasting powers of attorney in place so that you decide who is going to look after your welfare and your finances if anything goes wrong. Because it's not going to be your parents, it's not going to be your girlfriend, it's not going to be your wife, unless you have the lasting powers of attorney in place or the Court of Protection appoints them as a deputy. So things can go very wrong. Probably going to get your first girlfriend, you might live together for a while. At that stage, who do you appoint as attorney? Who do you appoint as your executor? All of these things need to be considered. Legal planning is an ongoing process. We have our own review system called the Peace of Mind Service for clients, which means they get the chance to review things briefly each year in the light of changes in tax, in the law, in law created by judges, and in personal circumstances, which, as we've already seen, can change quite radically. It's important that all of these things are kept under review. Then you're going to have children, and you're going to take on the responsibility of making sure they're protected. Then later on, you might inherit some money, and you might start to have inheritance tax issues and start to think about trusts, gifting, etc. in order to protect your family and reduce the amount of tax that's going to be paid. Then as you get older, you will probably want to hand over some of the responsibility for managing your affairs to the people that you've appointed as attorneys under your lasting power of attorney, if it's in place. If it's not in place, then you could end up under the control of social services, which is not everybody's idea of bliss, because they're busy folk and they don't have as much time as they would like to get to know everybody. And again, as you get older, things will change. You might get divorced, you might get remarried. You've got to look at combining the needs of your former children, if you like, with those of perhaps new children, new wives, etc., or new husbands. And again, you need to keep everything under review. We suggest on an annual basis, which is the way that our Peace of Mind service is set up. You might need more sophisticated planning, which again we can supply. But at the end of the day, if everything is not kept under review, then by the time you get to be 90 or whenever it is you eventually expire, then things could be in a pretty pickle, and your intentions could be frustrated because they were set up 20 or 30 years ago and things are now very different. So, please do stay in regular touch as a Peace of Mind service member. And we'll keep you organised throughout life and make sure that your life counts for something for future generations. Thank you very much.